Now we head straight on with Frank Reinelt from Eurodata. He's the Chief Operating Officer for Smart Services and Solutions for Medium-Sized Companies. As a result of the digitization, well-established business models were challenged. Does the technical authority in Germany will be threatened? How to get started? When will be a service smart? The Internet of Things and the digitization will offer a unique opportunity for companies to settle their market position and generate business growth. Finally, best practices will reinforce the content. Please welcome Frank Reinelt.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be here on stage. And when I left this morning home, my little daughter was asking me, "What are you doing today?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to a computer fair, and I'm talking about the Internet of Things." And she was asking, "Can you please get one for me?" Yes, we'll see. There are a lot of things here to see on CeBIT, and I think it's important that we prepare for the digital age. And this is especially important to do that when you're today in a mid-cap organization. And this is about my presentation. I wanna give you a hands-on exercise how to tackle Industry 4.0, how to handle it in a mid-cap organization. My name is Frank Reinelt. I'm the CEO of the Smart Services division of Eurodata, and I'll come back to Eurodata at the very end of my session. The session will be divided in 3 bullet points. First of all, I want to dive in a little bit more into Industry 4.0 and the industrial Internet of Things. What does it mean? And I want to touch smart services, because we see a lot of technology here on CeBIT. But we will learn it's not just about technology. We have to think about what's in for us. Secondly, I want to guide you through a showcase, and the showcase is about healthcare logistics. I don't want to show you how to do that. It's more like how to get into this situation in preparing for Industry 4.0 scenarios. How do I get my organization ready, and what do I have to do for it? At the end of the day, I will guide you through a workshop. Normally we do the workshop, but this is not the right setting here to do it interactively. So, let's start. I think Industry 4.0 feels a bit like repetition if I have to explain this one. Probably I explain where the term has been invented. It was in 2011, 2012, when the German Ministry of Economics decided Germany has to prepare for the digitalization. We have to lose a lot because our industry is very much based on production, on manufacturing, and digitalization is key. So we have to make sure that our industry is prepared. And hence, they went to the Architect, which is the Academy for Technology, and put a lot of very clever, high intelligent people together and said, what is our agenda for the next 10 to 20 years? And they came up with the term Industry 4.0, which is the equivalent of the industrial Internet of Things, which is another term has been used on a global base. And it actually describes the 4th industrial revolution, and I don't need to explain in detail what it is. The first one was the steam machine, the second one was electricity, mass production, third one was actually introducing IT technology in the production, and the 4th one talks about how to network and how to evolve new productivity out of that. Now, this information here you see on screen is something Architect has published, I think in 2014, together with Accenture, and it describes the state of different industries on a global comparison the Global 2000 was the Global 2000 in Germany. And what you can see here is as smaller the bar, as better it is. It has to do with the German grades at school. 1 is the best and 6 is the worst. So this is the average of the Global 2000. No wonder Germany is in the lead in Maschinenbau, automotive, so which means manufacturing, automotive and logistics, in terms of how digital we organize those industry. We are still above average in terms of energy, chemical. We are below average in medicine, technology, and pharmaceutical. This is just the statistics to see how is the state of the industries on a global base and the German in comparison. Now, we already have 15 billion things in the internet since the internet was invented. But the speed of digitalization is incredible because we see another 15 billion in total, 30 billion of those by in the next 5 years. So the speed is increasing and we have to prepare. Now, what is the value? What's in for us? Why should we do this and why should we consider in investing Industry 4.0? First of all, Akatech has calculated an increase of efficiency between 6 and 8%. Well, is that worth a revolution? Maybe not. There must be much more to it. We see a lot of technology, we see a lot of how efficient you can produce and how clever you can make things you have done before. But is that really a revolution? I want to challenge you here because there is much more to it. We have to think about how to earn money. And it's about new digital business models. I'll give you an example. You all know this symbol. It's Apple. Apple is, together with another organization, I come back to that one, is the most valuable company on earth. It's worth 555 billion US dollar in market capitalization. What that means is so much, it's actually hard for us to understand. And I'll give you a comparison here. Siemens, for example, BMW, Mercedes, BASF, Deutsche Telekom, SAP, and Volkswagen all together are worth the same as Apple. And Apple is a company that focuses on the technology of today and tomorrow in order to enable us in things like Industry 4.0 or the industrial Internet of Things. And you see how that works against the value. This is the future, really. And I think many of you, many of the large organization, I think virtually all of them, and many of the mid-cap organizations understand I have to do something here in this trend. I'll give you another example. You know that organization from Google, Alphabet, is about the same worth as Google, and it has the same value that equals the GDP, the gross domestic product of Norway, of a whole country, of many million people who have to work a whole year in order to generate the same value as the worth of Alphabet. So it's incredible value behind. And once we decide to really have to do something here in Industry 4.0, we have to think about smart services. Because smart services are actually the offers. This is how to monetize the term Industry 4.0. This is how to make money. And this is how to create new offers. And here there is there's a picture of the Impulse study of last year where actually the product itself is described as something from the past. This is actually a very hard fact for us Germans because we love our products and we are so proud of made in Germany and build these beautiful cars and every these gadgets and pieces we love. But the bad news is the product itself will not be the offer we're gonna provide with Industry 4.0. In the evolution of the offer, it has been added with services, and at the end of the day, it comes together. It amalgamates the service and the product and it creates a new offer. I'll give you an example. You all know these examples, and I'm sure they're copied 100 times now on these stages, but car sharing, for example. Car sharing is a good example where the product itself becomes commodity. Because car sharing addresses people which normally live in an urban environment, they don't need necessarily a car because there are no parking spaces available anyway. So what they need is mobility. And for them, it's not important whether it's a full equipped BMW or Mercedes what they're driving. For them, it's important to have a small car for short distance and maybe a bigger car for longer distance. And for the rest, they take public transportation. That's mobility. So the actual product converts from the car into mobility. And this is what comes here into the new thinking here. It's not about the product itself. You have to think about smart services, and now the question is, what is a smart service, and what does it bring for me? First of all, what we've just learned, the car sharing offering is a smart service. There are others out there, like Uber or Airbnb. These are all smart services, and they all have this combination of physical offers and as well as digital offers. Yeah, so it's a combination. I might come back to this, but that's all secondary important. They have created a new business model. And this new business model has, in some cases, and in many cases, disrupt complete markets. And this is where the risk is coming from. And this is another good reason, especially for mid-cap organizations, not to fall into sleep if they listen to Industry 4.0. Because disruption can happen to anybody. Like the taxi drivers, which now facing Uber. But there's also an opportunity. If we are the first ones who are doing this, we have the opportunity to maybe disrupt markets or take huge advantage of maybe addressing new customers and new markets. So, how do we get there? A smart service is actually a combination of certain aspects. First of all, you need a new data-driven business model. That's a foundation of a smart service. Secondary, you need digital improved products and services. We're also talking about cyber physical systems. And the product and the service becomes one. Think about Uber, think about car sharing. And it's very user-centric. It's very much important that we think about the user who needs transportation, who needs mobility, that the car is nearby, and whether it's a big or a small car, depending on the distance he has to take, it has to be the right offer. So it's very user-centric. It's not about you get the best car on earth. It's about what do you want to do. And that's good news for us. It also needs the smart talents. The smart talents are sitting in this room now. Smart talents are the people in our current organizations. The problem is, if we talk about Industry 4.0, it's also very often about we will lose all our jobs. Yeah? So, especially the German, they like to, talk about fear and risk and problems. And the first thing that comes up is our jobs will disappear. Maybe. But it's Industry 4.0. So we have already 3 iterations of industrial revolution. And if we would not have followed them, I'm sure we all would not have our jobs, which we have today. So this is not a question about whether we lose jobs. Of course, there will losers and winners. But what we have to do is we have to take our organization, our people with us, and make them ready to really tackle Industry 4.0. Again, smart talents. You all will need them, and I'm sure. Good. And there's another key component in smart services and Industry 4.0 offers. These are the platforms. The platforms are critical. This is the digital foundation to bring all those things together to run your business model on it. And there's another information here. The Architect has also unveiled in their study of the 56 biggest global smart services platforms, 64 of them coming out of North America. Yeah? This is such a key element in our Industry 4.0 offering, this is where I said we should not just leave it to one country. Yeah, this is a global thing, and I think on a global base, Germany already has 10% of those offers, and I think we can do better. So every country, every region has to make sure that the regional rules and legal foundation will be reflected, and this is to really run it on those legal environments. And I know the Germans are very specific in terms of data security. If you want to have the rules in which you want to run your data secure, you have to run your own platform. Good. How to get to a smart services? Our CTO of our smart services division, Lume Boriano, who will actually present on main stage right after mine, he has come up with this approach. He said, you need to go through those 5 steps in order to get ready, in order to roll your smart service out. And no wonder why. You have to start with a new business model, and then you have to find yourself the perspective. And here, there's something different maybe that mid-cap organizations have done in the past. German mid-cap organizations very often have been founded in 1 or 2 generations before. So when they have done the 2 generations, they did not involve too many partners. They could do that all themselves. But now here we're in a different in a different game. We have to find partners. We have to work with others together. And if we do so, we have to find our perspective in this partnership, in this environment. What is our role? What do we play? Are we the leader? Just we're part of an offering, or what are we doing? Secondly, the integration. We have to think about the components, about the participants, the people, the things we have to integrate in our new business model. And fourth, we have to connect them, and now we are back on the platform. Yeah? We have to link them together, and the platform also is the foundation to collect all the data which we need, the big data which we need in order to drive those business models. Think about car sharing again. You would not know where the car is if the data would not suggest and provide through GPS means, for example, which car you need and where it is. So that is all data-driven. And finally, step 5, the delivery. You're finished, you're done, but don't forget to get your organization with you. That's incredibly important. You can do it in 2 different ways. You can transform your current organization from the existing business model to a new one, or you build a new business model aside and run the traditional business model as long as it's profitable. So both 2 ways, but you have to think about the people you take with you. They have to be prepared. It's not just a thing you in your organization can do on your own. Okay, now, please tell me your new business model. What is your new digital business model? No answer?
Got a mic.
That's no surprise.
Anyone has a new digital business model? That is what you want to know?
Normally, don't stress them too much because it's so hard to find one. Yeah? And I think the answers will be similar to those which I had in the past. The thinking is very much in the traditional business model. Yeah? So what we have to do is we have to actually get out of our current situation and think differently. Otherwise, it happens like Henry Ford happened. He said, if I would have asked my customers, they would have come back with faster horses. We would not have cars today. Yeah? So this is a different kind of thinking, and this is not a process what is your new business model? There's more to it. You have to go into a different process. And then we developed an approach that is like the first step into it. We are not a consulting organization who will really take you at hand and go and walk you through all the process, but we have a little exercise that helps you to enable yourself, especially when you're a mid-cap, a small organization, which cannot create think tanks and put the best people in a room, lock them in, get them out 1 or 2 years later, and they come back with great ideas, new business model, and beautiful business of the future. No, when you're a mid-cap organization, you have to do it out of your operational means. And And we think, and we have experienced, this is a good approach to do it out of the operational means. And what we do is we provide a playground for the people, for the own organization, aside the operational business. And the playground is actually a smart service platform, a prototype, which you can play around, you can gain experience and develop new ideas. And once you have found one, you also can present that to stakeholders and decision makers in your own organization in order to make the new idea happen. Now, I want to walk you through the second bullet point, which is a showcase about healthcare logistics. And this showcase is more to show you what happens if you digitalize. Yeah? And think back about my playground. Yeah? What happens once you put in a digital platform into your existing business model? So healthcare logistics, it's very often about track and trace, especially when it comes to urgent medicine. There are things like monitoring of cold chains and automated planning of transportation means what is the right truck for the parcel, the shipping I have to do. So those business cases are around healthcare logistics. And I walk you through a typical supply chain. What happens typically, you have a pharma organization, you have a logistic provider, you have a distributor in the various regions, and you have the recipients, which can be pharmacies and hospitals, and you have the patient. So these are the contributor in this logistics chain. If some things fails, like the truck had an accident and the truck driver had to get to hospital, maybe the first one who find out that the urgent medicine will not arrive in time is the recipient itself. Yeah? And maybe we're talking about a life-threatening situation, so that's a really severe situation. And first of all, the hospital may call the pharmaceutical organization, where is my good? They call the logistics service provider, they checking their supply chain, they understand it already has been shipped to the distribution, they call the truck driver and then the police because he couldn't answer the phone, and all the chain backwards, and you know what happened. It's a very cumbersome process, and the reason why that happens and why it's so cumbersome, because we're thinking in silos. We are very good organized vertically. Yeah, you see all those contributors in that supply chain. They have own databases, own systems, they have own processes, they have own planning, but they're not well connected across the supply chain. Yeah? And this is I think the key point in terms of how to digitalize your business, really thinking into a horizontal connectivity. So the platform comes back. So if you now have this situation, if you provide this process a foundation, a platform in the middle, you now get a complete different transparency. Once a good is shipped, every contributor in the platform immediately understands and knows what happens in the moment, in the second in time. So again, if emergency case happens, yeah, let's say we need now the product, the medicine urgently. Now we understand immediately where the next good is available, and we don't have to call the pharmaceutical organization in order to deliver one. We actually can monitor the whole supply chain, and maybe there's already something on the way which we can pick out by helicopter if it's very, very urgent, and bring them directly to the hospital. Yeah? So this kind of information on the platform makes different kind of business model available and different kind of offerings. Good. And this is the exercise. Yeah, I didn't want to show you how to organize a healthcare logistics supply chain, but it shows the impact and the effect once you put a platform into a half analog or analog process. And this platform here is run on a service we have created, which is a platform service called CeBIT. It has microservices in there. Those microservices guarantee that it's a very scalable and robust platform. And the PEM, the EDPEM, process event monitoring, will ensure that every contributor in the supply chain understands the status of the process. So the monitor helps to see the status of the process, monitors all the events. Yeah? If you want to learn more about the technology, I invite you to the main stage right after my presentation where our CTO is presenting, and he can explain it much better than I do. Okay, so now we have done the same process with our customers and prospects and went through a process of a exercise in doing a workshop. And we said, please take one of those 4 verticals and take one of a typical process out of those verticals, and first then digitalize them, and secondly, find a new business model. So this is the guidance, and normally I would do it together with you. Obviously we don't have the time, and maybe it's not the right setting here, but it's incredible what happens. This one here, for example, is one of my favorites. It's called Smart Life. They had 15 minutes to create a new business model. They have done exactly what we've seen in the logistics case. They said, well, what we do is we implant a chip of every person. That chip then corresponds with a mobile phone, or with a smartphone, obviously, and that is connected to the platform. The platform has all the data, the intelligence to understand what's the best for you, and at the end of the day, we don't need doctors anymore. Maybe not that realistic, maybe, but as you can see, they had a lot of fun, and there's a lot of realism in there. Yeah, actually, I've seen yesterday on the open stage they have created cyborgs. They implanted chips into people. Yeah, so I thought this is very far in the future, but maybe not that far. Okay, another example, and this is very realistic. This lady, she said, "What I don't like is when I'm in a shop, I see the organic products. There's milk, organic milk, but what's the difference to the standard milk? Yeah, I cannot prove it whether the cow had a better life than the other cow." And she said, please digitalize all the processes in the farmer organization down to the point of sales, and I understand, is that the product I really want? And it's a great marketing effect. And I think this is a very realistic business model, created in 15 minutes. I actually visited a dairy producer in Finland 3 weeks ago, and I explained that we created this in 15 minutes, and they really got big eyes, and I think they're thinking about those things. And you need a platform. Again, the track and trace, what we've seen with the logistics, would also help here to understand what happened in the production of the organic product. Another one, this is also logistics. These guys, they had a lot of fun because they said, I mean, we have so many cars out there and car booths and spaces we don't use. They stand there, they stand still, or they're just equipped with one person. We can use this capacity if we put them and link them all to a platform. If I want to ship my parcel, I get an info. The next car passes my house, gets an information. They stop over. I put my parcel in. So this is like a shared logistics case. Excellent. Maybe also very realistic in future. If you see what Uber has done, it's a very similar idea, approach, but using the spaces available out there. And if you want to do that on your own, we can provide you a 5-day workshop. We call it Smart Start Pack, where we create actually a physical platform for you. You have the playground I've talking about earlier, and you can really get one for yourself and enable your own organization to do that. But what we do, our business model, is actually different. We are an IT vendor with an own data center in Germany, based in Saarbrücken, bank-level security. We are 500 people, founded in 1965. One of our divisions is concerning about Industry 4.0, and this is our offering. The digitalization, the platform I mentioned, is something we offer between hybrid on-premise. The second, we're also talking about and helping you with analytics. And last but not least is we're also getting you into the situation, the first step into new business models. And I think I'm now exact on time because I'm now done. Thank you.
Frank Reinelt.